Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining with us on the day one of SC300 certification training. This will be a 5 days training, and this we'll be going through the SC300 topics. And we have Robin with us to take us through the topics and better understand and better prepare for the SC300 exam. Let's hear from him. Over to you.
Hey, good morning, Sudak. I hope it's been loud and clear.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you, Sudak, for coordinating this program. So good morning and happy Monday, everyone. This side has been Robin, Microsoft Certified Trainer, and today's our program is on Microsoft Active Directory here. So thank you all and appreciate your time for joining this webinar. And this program name is Azure Active Directory and Identity Management. So this is basically a program related to the Active Directory, and it's been related to a program related to the Azure Active Directory. All of us from this batch may be already working on Active Directory for a quite long time. Maybe you worked on a work group, maybe you've been worked on a domain, maybe you've been start working on FSMO or group policy. So last many years, system administration side, we are using a Active Directory as the one of the key component, or we used to say it's a backbone of any network. Because if you take any collaboration tool or if you take any access, it's been completely managed from Active Directory point. So this is basically a specific topic related to the Active Directory management. So this basically we talks about how Active Directory is being configured here, how users is being configured here, and how on-premises and how Azure Active Directory can be connected. So this specifically identity management session. So whoever has been working on an Active Directory infrastructure, this training will be useful for you. So about this training program, so as Siraj mentions, like the timing has been already given on the locker timing has been already given on the screen. Different country and different time zone. It's been mentioned on the first slide of the training program. Right now, you can able to see on the screen. It's been shared here. Now, before moving to Active Directory concept, so we have a large number of audiences been connected here. So if you can just introduce yourself. So before that, let me introduce myself. My name is Robin, working on multi-cloud and Azure Active Directory and Azure Cloud for almost 16 years, and a regular trainer for Microsoft training programs. And my core area is about AWS, Azure, and Google, and Active Directory, and architect and designing on Azure Cloud Computing also. This is about my experience. And right now I've been connected from India. And similar way, if you can just introduce yourself, your good name, your experience on Azure Active Directory or a Active Directory component, and from where you've been connecting. So if you can just post it on the chat, so let's know each other. So if you can just put a single comment on the chat, that will be well and good. Good morning. So right now, Gene is being posted, waiting the response from the rest of the members also. Let's 1 or 2 minutes, so if we can just finish, that will be great. So Kamil is asking like, what is the difference between SZ900 and SZ300? Kamal, good morning. SC300 is basically focusing only on the Active Directory um, platform. So if you're taking a SC100, SC300 is been basically a general topic which talks generally. It's been like a top view of all the security and the compliance solutions there. So if you're taking SC900, that's only few modules been available. That's been not covered about the configurations or how Microsoft Azure Active Directory has been configured. So it's only one module of SC900. So SC900 is a like a AZ900, just giving a top view of this one. There's no lab, just giving like how security and the compliance has been planned on in a Microsoft Azure. So that is the main difference you can able to see here. So basically, they'll be discussing about the compliance and security side. Okay, so people have been introducing on in the chat. That's good. Thank you. Okay, thank you, team. Let's start with understanding about SZ900. So all of us is understood right now. It's been like this basically focusing on the Active Directory contents, and that's basically it's been talks about how Active Directory is can be managed on Azure, or if you have a hybrid scenario, like how this can be manage the connectivity between a different organization or a different. So, Surag, if you're there on the call, can you just give an approval for my second ID also?
Sure.
Yeah, thank you, Surag. Give me a second. So, yeah, thank you, Surag. So right now I'm taking to Microsoft official page, which has been beautifully explained how SZ900 course has been organized. So right now you can able to see we are inside Microsoft Learning and Development page, where you can able to see all the certification details. Let me share this link also on the chat. So in case if you want to bookmark it, and if you want to go through the contents or a study material or the details, this link will be useful to you. So here it's been beautifully explained. I hope you can able to see the screen. Yes. So right now you can able to see on the screen this beautifully explained. Um, this training program is uh, discussing more about Active Directory contents. So here you can able to see this has been talks about what is an Active Directory, how Azure Active Directory has been configured, how this has been different from a Microsoft on-premises Active Directory solutions. So we'll be discussing about a term called role-based access control. We'll be discussing a term or it's been a feature something like a AD Connect, and we'll be moving on into the other identity management solution on in the cloud side. So in the bottom one, if you're going, you may be able to see there is a study guide you can able to see. And if anyone has been planning to write this exam, similar like all other Microsoft Azure certification, passing score for this also has been 700. So 700 is the passing percentage generally used to get it 40 to 60 questions when you're planning for writing this exam. So this is basically going to be a scenario based objective type of the questions you can expect. So in case if anyone is been planning for this exam, 150 to 180 minutes of your calendar needs to be blocked, because it's been like 30 minutes or 40 minutes generally it will take for your checking and other process. So rest of the members is been needed for writing the exam. Now bottom one you can able to see the schedule or registration of the exam. So from the which country you have been connected, from here you can able to select if you are connected from Bangladesh or India or Sri Lanka or Philippines, select that country and you can able to see the exam pricing part. So in case if you have a voucher, you can able to use that. Otherwise, you may have to go to the Prometic site and you need to make the payment. So once you click the register the exam or the schedule the exam, which has been showing on the screen, this will take you into the Prometic page. So where you can able to select your details and you will get an flexibility to plan for your exam when you want to write it, what time zone you want to write it, so that you can able to get it here. Now, if anyone has been looking for an handout, because end of the training, one of the common question we used to get is about the handout part. So you don't need to go for purchasing any separate handout, or you don't need to wait for some handout to be delivered to you, because right now if you take any Microsoft certification, handout has been by default, it's been available on the portal itself. You don't need to go for purchasing some separate handout or hard copy or a soft copy. You don't need to download it, because all the contents are by default, it's been available here. You need to just click on that and you can able to see all the module or chapters are very beautifully, it's been uploaded it on in the portal here. The only point what you need to remember, it's been like at any point of time, if you're referring this Microsoft Learn portal site, right side of the top or the top window or the screen, you may be able to see there is an option called sign in. So make sure that you are using your login with your Microsoft or ID, which has been linked with the Microsoft portal. The reason it's been like the moment you completed a chapter or a module, you may be able to see there are some brownie points or a learning points you can able to see here. Right now you can able to see 1200. So all these points will be added to your profile, because nowadays organizations are asking your transcript. So this information will be or this whatever learnings currently you're doing with the Microsoft portal, all your modules you have been completed, all the points you have been gained, everything will be updated to your profile. So your complete profile will have all these details: how many certification you have been completed, how many learning hours you have, how many modules have been completed on the Microsoft portal. So the moment when you start completing this one, this can be used for updating in your office learning portal also, because some of the organization generally have some kind of a, target, like all the employees needs to be completed 20 hours or a 30 hours of a learning in a year. So for an artifacts, you may be able to submit this document, the profile which you are able to download it from the portal. That will be helpful for you. So answering to this question, like handout, it's been by default, it's been available here. So that will be helpful for you, the self-study part. Second question is been like generally almost everyone is having here. Is there any recording has been available for us? Yes, recording has been available. This will be uploaded it on in our YouTube link and Discord also. So Discord link will be shared by Sudak. Um, so you can use that link. So this will be available in the portal itself. So at any point of time, if you're thinking like, no, I need to go back and refer this video again, or I need to relearn it this one, then you have all our videos been uploaded on the Discord and YouTube link as well. So follow that, and it's completely a free webinar. You don't need to have pay anything. So make sure that the Discord link and the YouTube link you are sharing with your friends also. So this may be useful to your friends as well. So ensure that this all program is been we are been organizing for enabling you. It's been a completely free webinar. So please ensure that this link is been shared to all your friend circle or a college circle also. So this whatever learnings we are sharing here, this may be useful to your friends as well. So this is the one advice from our side. So we need your support for reaching out to many people. So requesting you to share this Discord link and YouTube link to your friends, and please make sure that you are registering on the Discord link as well. The reason it's been like every week we have a similar kind of a program. So this week or this Sunday we been this today you have been started with the Active Directory. Last week we had a sessions on security and Power BI and different programs you're organizing. So this will be helpful for you to understand what is the latest program. So based on your platform or based on your passion or interest, you can able to come and join this session. So for getting a notification, please register that we have uh, a link has been available, and we have a WhatsApp group as well. So we'll be sharing that link also in the group. So you can able to use the WhatsApp group also. So that will be an emergency communication one. That means professionally we are trying to manage that one. So no greetings, or it's been like a forwarded messages there. So only the technical discussion or the discussion related to the Azure or discussion related to the training. These are the three area we are discussing. In case if you want to discuss some technical things, happy to be active there. So because you have any issues you're facing on Azure, or if you have some learnings you have on this one, let's share it there. Let's use that platform, sharing your knowledge, sharing the ideas, sharing the innovative ideas. Or if you maybe face some odd issue in your office or in your infrastructure, you can share that experience. So that will mutually you'll be learned, and mutually um, we were making a world-class professional connector. So use that platform, that training, all the training details we are trying to upload it on in the portal as well. So that's about general facility of this event or a program, how generally we are doing. So let me pause it here. So last couple of minutes, I'm just talking on giving an instruction on a general idea. Let me hear from you also. So if you have any questions, can you just post it on in the chat? Um, Mahesh is saying like it's not able to hear. Mahesh, audio has been clear, or you're able to get the audio? Maybe the issue with your teams. I hope the rest of the members is been able to see the screen, right? Right now, you may be able to see the um, screen related to um, Microsoft Learning Portal. Yeah, I can see it. So the yes, so yeah, so there may be problem in. Yes, Safru. Then we'll be discussing about a topic called AD Connect. So that time we'll be discussing this topic here. Okay. So let's start with the concept called Active Directory first. So let me take you into Microsoft. Sorry, let me take you into the whiteboard. So let me start with a simple question here. Uh, what is your understanding about Active Directory? Can you comment it on in the chat? Yeah. So what is the difference between so what is the learning about you have on in Active Directory? If somebody's been saying like a what is an Active Directory? What is your view or what is your understanding about the Active Directory service? Can you comment it on in the chat? What is the use of an Active Directory component, and where you need an Active Directory component in a infrastructure? Can you comment it on in the chat? Security database. So Kenneth is saying like security database to grant access to the resource. Okay. Okay. So no need to copy from the Google. Just type it what you know about an Active Directory. Okay. This is a self-evaluation. So Active Directory manage the users. Okay. Database and object. User management. Okay. Database and object. Okay. Active Directory for maintaining user access. It's for managing the permissions. Centralized management. Okay. Great. For a group policy. Authentication. AA is the another feature we are getting. Authentication. Authorization. Okay. So all of us are heard about a term at least, Active Directory here, or okay. So all of us are heard about a term called Active Directory, or you maybe heard about a term called LDAP, or you may be able to about a term called Direct Directory Service, right? So in your organization, last couple of years, we are start working on in a directory management or a Active Directory management. So there are different names. You may be able to use it on in your office. You maybe heard something like Active Directory or LDAP, or you may be heard about a term called Directory Access Service here. So let's try to understand what is the importance or why we need an Active Directory on in your organization? Let's start from a scratch here. Right now, all of us are attending your this session using a laptop. So let me give you a scenario here. The moment when you created a user account in your laptop, I'm taking a scenario here. This is my laptop here. So I have been created a user account inside this computer. It's called Sujit. So the username I've been provided and the password it's been provided. It's been like XXXX, some name I've been given the password. This is the computer A. I have another user or another computer has been available here. And this has been configured with another user. For example, like this is another computer, computer B, and the name I given it's been like a Robin. Password it's been 12345. I have another user has been another computer has been available. Computer has been C, and this has been used by Mohit. So the Mohit is the user. It's been currently using password I given is again like 121024. This is a number I've been provided. Now I have a simple question here. One day morning, there's the three laptop available in your office, and I'm just trying to do a login. So daily morning, Sujit has been start using the computer A, and he's entering the password and is getting to the laptop. Now, one day morning, Sujit has been using this laptop, and he is giving a password. Sujit and password is been XXXX. What will happen in that situation? Can you comment it on in the chat? If Sujit has been trying this username and password on a computer C, what will be the result we are going to get it? Are we able to log into this computer, or is he going to get any kind of error message? Can you comment it on in the chat? Because we have a large audience, that the reason we are not in a position to enable mic for everyone. So that the reason I need your cooperation on using the chat window here, because we have a large audience. Yes. So Mohib and Rahman and a few comments we are getting here. Yes. Yes, we are getting an answer something like no, the user has been not able to log in. And few people has been used some technical terminologies there, like some term called domain or centralized management, or if the user account, it's been local user account. Yes. So there are few comments we are familiar with that. Okay, great. So we are getting an exam. Okay, depends upon the type of the network. Okay, great. In yes, so basically I'm agreeing with the Kenneth point, like what has been comment on. Basically, if the user is been getting an error message saying that invalid username and password, why is been getting an invalid and username password, this has been pointing to the rest of the comments which we will received on the chat. This depends upon what is the type of the network or the type of the centralized, the type of the user management currently it's been used here. So technically there are two concepts we are using on in a network. One it's been knowing as a work group, and second one is the term we are using for domain. So the current scenario, which currently have been explained or simulated on in the screen. If the user account has been created as a local user account, so there is a local user account means that if the user identity information, if it is saved on in the local computer, in a local computer, once the operating system has been created, identity informations are saved inside a file called security account manager. You may be seeing this file name, right? Many times when you're planning to many times if the user has been not able to log in, we used to edit this file, we used to recreate this file, or troubleshooting we used to do with the help of a SAM file. So when you're creating a local user account, all the identity informations are saved inside a file called security account manager. So the reason it's like all the user accounts are individual user account, and it's been individually saved that information on in the local laptop itself. That's the reason whatever user account which you've been created on in your local user account, it's been not able to use the uh, not able to use it on in a system here. The reason it's been like that information the moment Sujit has been entering here, technically what is happening there? Sujit computer has been asking local computer, hey local computer, please open the SAM file. And my entry is username and password has been Sujit and password is XXX. So your SAM file will tell happy Monday, Sujit, but unfortunately your information is been not available in my database. So they will be getting a message saying that invalid username because this is something like a work group kind of a situation. So this is the model basically known as a work group kind of a scenario. The user account informations are saved on an individual laptop and individually the identity information is being saved. So we have a few concerns here. So this kind of a model is okay if you have a only uh, few resources only available in the network. But you take a scenario like you have a 5,000 computers are available in the network, and if you want to manage a centralized method, the work group model is been not sufficient for that or is not capable to handle that. That's the reason we started using a concept called a directory server. In Unix, you maybe heard this something like a mentioned as LDAP. LDAP is for stands for lightweight directory access protocol. In Windows, this basically knowing as a Active Directory. So Active Directory is the component basically we are using for um, connecting you. So basically with the help of a Windows or with the help of a Windows server, we will be installing a service there. So generally like if you're taking a Microsoft operating system, you will be installing a server. Once the server is ready, you will be installing a server operating system. So server operating system can be 2016 or a 2019 or 2022. So the server operating system will be installed. On top of that, your Active Directory component is be installed. So this Active Directory component will be responsible for identity management or this user account or all the identity management is been managed with the help of Active Directory. So this will be acting like a centralized method. So what is the advantage here? So this will be acting like a something called domain. All of us are heard about domain concept here. So this basically the user will be if you have a multiple computer like a or a B or a C. So the user account can be used any of this computer. So like you can able to connect to the Sujit can able to connect it A. The reason it's been like Sujit information right away it's been not saved on a computer A or a B or a C. Instead of that, all the database will be saved inside your Active Directory. It's inside a file called NTDS. So this will be saved inside a Active Directory, and you will be responsible for a term called authentication. So the moment when you given a username and password, authentication will happen from the Microsoft Active Directory. So this is about the general concept currently we are using on in a on-premises scenario. So all of us are familiar with that. The moment when you give a username and password, this used to connect to a local server from the all this authentication and all the procedure has been happening. Now the question is coming here. Right now, this is the kind of a model currently we are using on a legacy type of infrastructure. What about in a cloud? How the cloud is been working? Is there any possibility to use the existing DC to a cloud? For example, like you're working for an organization, there you have been created at 10,000 plus computers here. So you want to expand the user account, or if you want to synchronize the right term, maybe synchronize here. Is there any possibility to synchronize your existing on-premises network into a cloud? Is there any possibility to push that all the information to a cloud? Second one, it's been like, in case if I don't have any on-premises DC, how the Active Directory has been working on in a cloud. So we are trying to understand or we are trying to discuss about this concept here, how on-premises AD can be used for a cloud? What are the options of a Active Directory components is available on in a cloud scenario here? Now, before moving to that, any questions from anyone? Okay, so if you're good, can you just put a single comment on the chat if you're able to follow, and if you don't have any questions, requesting to put a single comment on the chat. Okay, so we are getting a few positive message on the chat. It's been like, yes, we have a question here. Like, is it possible to sing? Yes, we have a portion here. We'll be discussing or we'll be taking to that. So, okay, okay, great. Now, let's see how cloud has been working here. So we'll be starting with a simple concept here, something called authentication and authorization. So the topic we are starting today, it's about a concept called authentication and authorization. So the topic name right away we are discussing is called authentication and authorization. I hope you can able to see the screen here. So the topic name we are discussing on in a cloud called authentication and authorization here. Now let's start with a term called authentication. What is your understanding about authentication here? Have you heard about a term called authentication and authorization? Have you heard about a term called authentication? Yes, Sujit is saying yes. Okay. Now let's try to understand here. The moment when you start using a cloud method or a cloud service model here, in your Azure Fundamentals course or in your AZ10 program, you may be heard about a different management tools, right? So we understood like cloud or Azure has been working like a OPEX model. OPEX model means that it's been working based on a model, something like a pay as you go model, kind of a model. So that means cloud has been hosting a data center. Uh, this basically available in a different data center across the world. And we are using a technical terminology on in a Azure that basically known as Azure regions. Now, if I'm a user on in a connector from a Philippines, I'm sitting on in a Philippines here. Now I have a server which has been hosted on in a Australia. So I've been hosted a server in a Australia here. Now the server has been configured with Windows or a Linux or a Unix. It can be any platform. Now, if I need to access this server from a Philippines or a Sri Lanka or a India, what is the method we are using? You may be heard about a different management tools, right? So the moment if I need to connect, for example, like I'm taking the first scenario. For example, like if this server has been hosted in the data center or a data room in your own organization, you may be connected this to laptop directly using a monitor. That is one method. Second method, it's like you would have taken a RDP. Now, right now, if you're seeing here, user has been residing in Philippines or a Sri Lanka or a India or a Pakistan or it's Bangladesh, uh, but the server has been hosted in Australia. So right now we understood the server is been not available in my premises, is been not hosted by me. This has been hosted completely by CSP. CSP is the term generally we are using, that's called a cloud service provider. The vendor who has been providing a cloud solution to us, that basically known as cloud service provider. Now I'm getting a question here. How will I connect to this server which has been hosted on in a cloud? Already all of us are already familiar that there are different management tools available in the network. With the help of that, you can able to manage that one. One of the commonly used method, especially on in a GUI, that's called a portal.azure.com. You can connect to Azure portal like https://portal.azure.com. That is one of the commonly used browser-based tool we are using. All of us are familiar with that. Second one, it's been like we are using a PowerShell, right? So second one, it's been like we are using a PowerShell. If you're from a development background or you are good in a automated side, you can use a PowerShell on in your laptop. With the help of a PowerShell, you can able to manage the Azure data center or Azure resource which has been hosted on in the cloud. Third option, generally we are using on in a cloud, something called a Azure CLI command line interface. You can able to use it, or you have something called Azure Bash also. It's been available. So if you have available, or it's called a Microsoft Azure Shell. With the help of a Azure Shell, you can able to it's can able to use it, or you have a something called a software development kit also available in case if you want to integrate some API. So we have that option also available. Technically, if you are taking here, you have a data center or infrastructure is been hosted in the cloud side, and for management purpose, you have a different management tools are available. Now, if I'm using any of these tools here, for example, like let me use the one of the commonly used tool that's called a portal.azure.com. Let me see how it's been working. I'm just connecting to a portal called portal.azure.com. All of us are already familiar that we used to type this link on in the portal or a browser based method, right? We used to type it on in a portal.azure.com. The link, it's a browser based accessing method here. So the moment when you type this link on in the browser, for example, like right now you're on the screen, you may be able to see here. The moment when I enter the URL on my browser, portal.azure.com, it's asking a message here. Hey, good morning, Robin. Please provide your credential, or it's been like a please provide your identity for entering to this one, right? This is not that I'm just typing a portal.azure.com. It's not just entering to the portal there, right? Because there is some validation, like there is some verification of your user account. The moment David or Rahman or a Mary or it's like a Sujit or a Charan, if you are entered a username and password, someone in the backend is been validating whether the username and password is been valid or not. For example, like I'm just giving a name code Sachin at outlook.com. You may be able to get a message here. Please provide your details for entering here. See, I'm just giving like to continue your detail. There is some user is been available. He's got a some notification though. So similar way, if you use any of this management tool, whether you use a PowerShell or a CLI or a SDK or any of this tool, by default, some action has been happening on in the backend. For example, like that basically the term we are using is called authentication. Authentication is nothing. Whatever user account and password you are entering here, that validation is been happening here. For example, like I'm just giving my details here. I'm just giving like details here. Robin at outlook.com. I'm entering my password here. It's asking some details. Give me a second. It's asking some personal information about my email ID and other detail. Let me hide it that for a second because This we are recording and we are uploading on YouTube. So I'll identify. I'll just mask my this details, personal details. So give me a second. I'm just waiting Microsoft code here. Let's wait. Okay. Right now I entered my personal information here. I given my username and password. Right now on the screen, you may be able to see the user details or a credential or a it's been validated. I'm able to enter into my system here. Right now you may be able to see here. There is all the resources been currently it's been hosted here. You can able to see like all the resources been currently hosted, and I am able to access Microsoft portal where I can able to configure, manage, I can do governance, I can able to do monitoring. So all this action I'm going to do with the help of this one. Right now, what we have done, the moment I've been connected using this management tool, the first action we have been done is something called authentication. That means if any user has been connecting to your portal, there is a validation has been happening from your side. It's been validating whether the user account it's been valid or the user account it's been available on your organization, or whatever password has been currently it's been available in the Azure, it's been correct or not correct. That validation has been doing. So that validation is basically known as authentication. The term we are using here, that's called authentication. So it's basically it's been authentication has been happening on in the cloud side. Who is doing that? This is basically done by a feature or a service which has been currently available in the portal that basically known as Microsoft Azure Active Directory. End of this session, you need to understand the moment when you enter your username and password or username and password, Azure Active Directory has been responsible for authentication. Azure Active Directory has been ensuring that the username and password which has been entered, it's been right and is able to uh, provide a right ticket or grant ticketing, or it's basically known as permission for the user to log in. Now, right now you may be able to see I've been given a username password. It's called Robin. I've been entered my password or a credential here. So once I entered, I'm able to see there are many resources or many services on my portal here. So the second step is in like something called authorization. Authorization is nothing. When you had a discussion about Azure fundamentals class or a AZ104, you already understood like Microsoft has been supporting almost 100 plus of services here, which include networking, which include security, which include a compute or a database, or many components are available here. For example, like if you click on the left side in the resource panel, there is an option you can able to see something called all services. If you're clicking all services, this will be taking to a page something called all services page, where you can able to see Microsoft has been very beautifully organized all the components here. Right now, if you are clicking a compute, you may be able to see all compute related components. Second one, it's like you can able to see if you're clicking on a networking, 35 plus services related to networking. It's called a solution here. So you can able to see 35 plus solution. You can able to see it on in a portal as well. So right now the question is been coming. If a user is been entering to a portal, right now Robin has been entered. Now from the same organization, we may have a Larry or a Christian or a Sujit or a Charan or a Surag. I may be having 100 plus users are available in my organization. If everyone has been connecting to this portal, are they able to see all the services? If yes, if I'm giving a permission, equal permission to everyone, how my infrastructure has been stable? Because I mean, my organization, I may be having a freshers or a juniors, or I may be having some guest may be coming. If someone is making some kind of a mistake, because human mistake is one of the commonly threat for all the organization, right? Most of the issues or outages basically it's been coming because of a human mistake here. So the next step for avoiding or mitigating this one in an organization, what generally we are doing, we will be restricting the permission. Now when you entered in a college or in your office, I'm just taking an example also. In your office you may be able to see, if you are an employee of an X company, you may be having only access to your department or only your ODC or in your floor. If you go to the other floor or other department, you may be having how to give a declaration to the physical security who's been available there. Or if it is a large organization, you may be having ID card which got a access permission. If you want to enter into that department, you may have to bypass, or you may have to uh, cross some gates where you need to show your ID card or access card, right? So you're restricting physically your in your office there. So similar way here also, um, rather than providing the complete permission to all the services or a resource for your users here, users will be, or administrator will be restricting the permission here. So the term right now we are discussing something called authorization. Now authorization is nothing. Right now we understood here in a cloud side, in the moment when you implemented a cloud solutions on in your organization, uh, Microsoft Azure has been supporting almost 100 plus services on in your um, cloud infrastructure. Now, rather than providing the complete access, or it's a complete permission to all the resource, we will be restricting the access. So once the user has been authenticated, once the user has been given a username and password, authentication will complete. Now, once the authentication has been completed, based on the authorization, only allowed resource or only the allowed service that computer or the user will be able to see it on in the portal or in the management tool. Rather than providing all the 100 users or 8,000 products, which you can able to show it on in a client, customer will be doing something called a authorization. Authorization means that generally we'll be doing with the help of a concept called RBAC. RBAC is the one term we are learning today. RBAC stands for Role Based Access Control here. So based on your job role or based on your task, admin will be assigning a right permission to you. So only authorized resource you will be able to use it on in a Microsoft portal here. And you may be already learned about a term called subscription also. So subscription you may be already familiar, right? Basically, it's been using like a the concept of it's called subscription is been available on in a cloud also. Subscription is nothing. This basically using for a concept of a billing. Like the moment when you implement a resource on in a Microsoft portal, how you want to do a billing. So that is been completely taken care by a term called billing option here. So the billing it's been available here. So with the help of a billing, it's been with the help of a subscription, your billing action is been performed. So right now we have learned three term here. One is called authentication, and second one is called Microsoft authorization, and it's basically it's been available on a Microsoft portal also. So any question from anyone? So we can able to see there are a few comments is been available here. Is there any kind of a AA features are available? Yes, we can able to configure AA kind of a features in basically in Microsoft portal as well. We can able to do that. So this been doing it using a code with the help of a different concept here. So there's a basically multi-factor authentication, or there is a Azure automated options also it's been available here. So authentication and authorization has been done with the help of this one. So you may be remembering like when you done this AA kind of a option in the radius it's been like the kind of a concept we used to use it in a on premises here. But here it's basically we are using a concept it's been different here. So this basically we'll be using a multi active directory option it's been in a different way here. So, but in case if you want to use a radius server on an Azure, that has been possible here. There are some situation like in case if you want to configure any radius authentication here, that you can able to do it here. So this will allow you to configure a radius servers, or in case if you have a VPN or a RDJ or a VD has been available, you can able to use a radius also. There is an option for integrating this with a radius also here. RBAC has been Muhammad Sulaiman. This nothing. We have a term has been coming here. We have a module has been coming for a role-based access control. In a simple term, Sulaiman, I'm saying you have 100 users has been available here. We can able to set a permission here. What Sulaiman can able to access on in a portal. How many VM you are eligible to access, or how many storage account you can able to access, or what are the actions you can able to perform in a Azure. This all has been defined with the help of a concept called RBAC. So rather than giving a global admin permission to everyone in your organization, based on the user role. For example, like Sulaiman is been the working as a printer admin in your organization. So obviously, I need to give only the permission of a printer related task here, right? Rather than giving DNS, or rather than giving a permission on in a backup or a user creation or other one, we'll be using the permission on in a RBAC here. So role-based access control based on your role you'll be setting here. Nelson is asking like, where do we set RBAC? Nelson, if you take a Microsoft Azure Active Directory, RBAC is separate module has been coming. We'll be discussing that way. RBAC has been generally configured on in a Azure Active Directory here. So we have a separate module is coming, Nelson. But since you asked this question, for your information, this has been configured in Azure Active Directory. This basically we used to configure in a resource level, a resource group level, and in a subscription level on in a cloud side. So this basically configured in any of these three level, you can able to configure it here. So with the help of that, you may be able to define whether the user have a complete permission on in a subscription, or the user is got only the permission on in a resource level or a resource group level. You can able to post it. Attendance link, I can see the people are posting on that. Don't worry about the attendance. We'll be sharing you soon. And who has been updated the attendance on the sheet, they'll be getting a certificate for that. Okay, the training completion certificate will be getting. So please wait some time. So before closing this session, we'll be sharing you the form or a link for attending this one. So don't worry about the attendance part. So we'll be sharing the attendance link soon. Okay, I hope it's been so far. It's been good, and you got the concept here, right? So thank you, Surya. Team Surya has been shared a attendance link on the chat, so you can give your right name and a pass. So not password, right details on in the portal, because otherwise on the certificate you may get some clerical mistake. So better give your right name and a capital letter, so it's been easy for you to for us to make a certificate. So we manually we are doing, so ensure that you are giving your right email ID and the right name also, because many times we used to get a concern saying that people are not received a certificate. So the reason is like sometimes wrong email ID may be given, so we may be generated a certificate and you've been sent also, that may be bounced back. So ensure that while giving your attendance, ensure that is being given right name. So let's take a 5 minutes break here, and we'll come back. So next one, it's been the configuration part. So meanwhile, you can complete this attendance, and we can back in 5 minutes. And after 5 minutes, we'll be getting to a topic called configuration of on-premises AD Active Directory here. How this can be able to configure it in a Microsoft portal. That is the topic we are going to discuss here. So we are just taking a short 5 minutes break, because the next topic has been little lengthy one. So in between, we'll not be in a position to take a break. So that's the reason we are just taking a short break here now. So thank you, team. Thank you for updating the attendance. I hope all are back from a quick break. Okay, great. Haja will come to or will come across to all such points and discussion in the RBAC session. Right now, I can say this been little early here. So right now, the session has been starting from a scratch. So we are not reached RBAC. I just given a term or a feature which has been available on Active Directory. Possible tomorrow or today we'll try to see or through this RBAC option. And that time I think we can have a discussion about how we can able to do all that points. I'm not defending your questions. I'm just saying like right now let's move that question into a bucket. Otherwise all of us here may get confused here. So right now we understood like when you're using an Active Directory is going to be a backend solution. It's on in a portal here. So, so Nelson, all the team members, RBSC is a different topic. For your information, we'll be discussing a separate module. So no need to post any question related to RBSC. So we have a separate module has been available. I will discuss that. Okay, don't focus on RBSC right away now. So right now we'll discuss like when you're using an authentication or a topic here, we understood like authentication authorization is been provided by the service called Active Directory on a Microsoft portal. For example, like if you go back to your portal here, by default, your Active Directory has been installed here. For example, right now I've been connected to Microsoft portal here. You may be able to see on the right side corner here, where you can able to see your username and password or the identity details. Right side top, you may be able to see your username. For example, like if you're keeping a mouse here, in a small, very small letter, you may be able to see your name, and you may be able to see there is a one tenant is been assigned for you. For example, like you can able to see like there is a domain is been created here. So by default, the moment when you created an account on in a Microsoft portal, by default there is a directory has been created for you. For example, like if you go to search bar or on the left side, you may be able to see a resource panel, right? Whatever option which you are seeing on in a left side, basically it's been knowing as a resource panel here. You may be able to see there is one option called Azure Active Directory here. You may be able to see there is an option is been showing here, something called Azure Active Directory. In case if the resource panel has been not available here, you can go to search bar where you can type Azure Directory here. You can able to see there is an Azure Directory option where you can able to configure it Azure Active Directory. You can able to see a Active Directory options here. So basically, it's like you may be able to see there is a Active Directory option is been available here. So the moment when you select an Active Directory option, you may be able to see a lot of options are sub options are getting here. You may be able to see here. You may be able to see here. You may be able to see here like a user account or a group or a domain name. So all the Active Directory management option you may be able to see here in the Active Directory tab. So basically, 2 points you need to learn here. One, the first point is like the moment when you created a user account on in a Microsoft portal, by default there is an Active Directory has been configured, and it's been configured with a default directory, and there is a tenant also it's been created here. Second point is been like the moment when you created an account, all this information or identity has been created inside a user account. That's the reason like the moment when you give a username and password, that validation is actually technically happening on in a cloud side. So that is the second point. So first point it's been like the moment when you created a user account in Azure, by default there is a tenant it's been created for you. Inside that tenant, all your profiles or your user account has been created. So the any user account which has been uh, the moment when you create an account here, you can able to see all this has been validated with the help of a user account which is been currently available on the portal here. So right now I have a couple of points here. Right now we understood Azure Active Directory has been a uh, identity management solution which has been available on in a cloud. With the help of that, all your authentication or authorization has been happening on in a portal here. You may be able to see the moment when you entered on into a cloud portal, all the user account that's been available here. Uh, right now, technically, how this has been working. If any user who has been logged into a cloud portal, they will be able to access all the resources currently it's been available on in the portal here. So technically, what I'm trying to say here, if you created a user account on in a Microsoft portal, with that account, you will be able to access all the cloud resources it's been configured on that. Means the user, you don't need to have a different account for managing a VM, or you don't need a separate account for managing a firewall, or you don't need a separate account for managing a storage account. So what I'm trying to say here, the same user account can be used for managing all your cloud resources. I hope it's been clear to you. And you may be remembering like when you go back to your office, or in your office, you may be using different collaboration tools. For example, like for getting an email, you may be having a Outlook has been available in your organization, right? All of us are using Outlook for email communication. And backend, you maybe heard about a service or a application called Exchange server. So you may be having Exchange servers are available, or you may be heard about something called Microsoft Teams also, right? Right now, you're already familiar that the reason you attending this session through a Teams channel. So you have a Teams tool has been available. You may be heard about SharePoint. You may be heard about Microsoft Project or a Visio. There are multiple applications are available. So now we are getting a question here, or you may be already noticed also the moment when you entered into Microsoft Teams, even all these collaboration tools also asking the username and password. Who has been doing a authentication of this user account? For example, like the moment when you entered your username and password into Teams, or in Outlook Express or Exchange, or any of the tool, who has been doing this authentication on in the backend side? So that also it's been done by the same Active Directory only. So you don't need any separate Active Directory or a identity management solution for external resource. External resource means that, for example, like you have a Microsoft 365 application has been available in your organization. For example, like a collaboration tool. You don't need to have a separate Active Directory or a identity management solution for managing that. Instead of that, the Active Directory can be used for managing that. Or there are some situations you may be noticed like your organization may be having different SaaS application has been integrating. This can be payroll application or a finance application, or this can be something related to the people management related application, or something related to a project. You don't need to have a separate Active Directory or a identity management for managing that. That can also it's been integrated with the Azure Active Directory. So technically, end of this session, you need to understand Azure Active Directory can be used for managing the external resources. Azure Active Directory can be used for managing internal resources also. So you will have only one solution has been available. That's called Active Directory. So technically, your internal and external resource are going to do authentication and authorization with the help of a Active Directory here. Now, as a cloud architect or a cloud Active Directory administrator, especially the Active Directory admin, you need to understand how Active Directory has been working here, how Active Directory can be used for creating a user account. We'll be discussing about how to manage your infrastructure from a on-premises to cloud. What are the different strategy, or what are the solution we need to take it on in a Active Directory in case if I need to move it on in a cloud side, how the hybrid connectivity can be made, how the solution can be made it on in a Microsoft Azure portal. Now, we are getting a question here. If you're taking an organization who has been generally using an Active Directory, So if you're taking any user account or any kind of a uh, identity management solution, you may be already aware that if you're taking any organizations, by default, almost all the employees in your organization is directly or indirectly to be using on in a Active Directory concept. Basically, like if you take all IT admins or whoever has been connecting on into your portal, all are responsible for using a Azure AD solutions. So your IT admins, application developers, or HR or a non-technical users, everyone will be using this one. So all your SaaS application, all your internal application, or IT admins or IT developers, everyone will be responsible for managing an Active Directory solution here. Now, coming on into Microsoft Active Directory, we're trying to understand about how Active Directory can be configured on in a portal and how this can be able to manage resources inside this one. All of us are already familiar that importance of a subscription in your account. So subscription is been responsible for managing the billing one. Now, once the subscription has been created based on your subscription privilege, we can able to create different resources on in a portal. So this resource can be a VM or it can be a database or it can be storage account or it can be firewall. Now what your Active Directory has been doing, your Active Directories will be connected with your subscription. With the help of a Azure Active Directory, you will be first action will you will be doing the authentication. Once the authentication is been done, all the resource authorization will be initiated by the Active Directory. Means in that subscription, for example, like one user is been logged in, what are the component that particular user can able to access, that will be decided by your Active Directory. Right now we understood Active Directory is having a many features are available here. Let's try to understand how what are the different features is been available here. Right now we understood if you are taking Azure Microsoft Azure Active Directory, all the internal resources been managed with the help of a Active Directory components. All the identity management or integration is been configured or with the help of a components here. Second point we have been learned, this can be integrated with a different SaaS product or a different cloud solution also. So that means this will allow us to configure external resources. You have option for connecting to a external resource here. So this can be different SaaS product can be configured here. Second one, it's been like this will allow you to connect with a integration of on-premises domain control also. For example, like in case in your organization, you already have few resources is been available on in a portal. For example, like you have a multiple network is been available. Each network has been having a few server resources. For example, like domain controller has been not completely migrated into a cloud side. Still, you have a DC has been available in your organization. So technically, that this kind of a situation, we used to call it's called 80-20 situation. 20% of the resource still it's been available on in a on premises. For example, like your DC is available on in the existing on premises one. Now if you want to integrate, it's been like connect to a portal, you may be having this kind of a option has been available here. So basically like you may have to integrate, for example, like that term basically we are using in a cloud, it's called hybrid mode. Hybrid mode means that you have a cloud is been available, the cloud is been connected into existing data center or a data room available in the portal, that's been called hybrid mode. So with the help of a hybrid mode, you have a you will be have a getting a flexibility to connect to the on-premises solution. So you have an option is been available, like you have an option for connecting or integrating with the on-premises solution. So you have an option for connecting to your on-premises solutions, you have an option to connect to the cloud, and you have option external cloud, and you have option for integrating to a Active Directory also. So right now we understood it's basically um, giving a flexibility to connect to a on-premises also. Now when it is coming on in a cloud side, what are the different Active Directory models are it's been supported on in a cloud? technically, if you're seeing Microsoft Cloud, if you go back to the portal here, now let me take you into whiteboard here. Now, when you're taking a Microsoft portal here, if you're taking a Microsoft Azure, Microsoft Azure has been supporting three model of Active Directory, uh, Azure Active, three model of Active Directory. The first one you already seen here. Right now we have been noticed here. By default, there is a Active Directory has been available on in the Microsoft Cloud itself. The moment when you create an account, by default there is a Azure Active Directory has been already been created. You maybe notice that, right? So where you are getting a option or a resource, inside that you have an option to create a user account, group, or you may be getting a lot of options that. So right now we have learned the moment when you configure the Azure account, there is a Azure Active Directory has been already available on in the cloud itself. That is the first option. Second point, it's been like, in case if you already have a domain controller, which has been available on in your existing data center. For example, like in your data center, you have a physical box or a VMware or a VM is been available. You may be already using a DC inside that, right? You may be using like apple.com or orange.com. You may be having your own domain name. So that's basically known as on-premises DC, right? You may be using a term called on-premises DC. Means you already have a physical server or a virtual server which has been available or it's been hosted on in your on-premises, which has been installed with the server operating system. On top of that, your Active Directory has been configured. The basically known as ADDS. That's called Active Directory Domain Service. So Active Directory Domain Service is nothing. This is the one component which has been currently available on in a Microsoft server. That service has been responsible for identity management. So you have a ADDS solution has been available on in a portal. So with the help of that, you can able to do all on-premises DC management. So that is an important point. You can able to see it on in a cloud side. Now, that kind of a situation, you have a local infrastructure or Active Directory on a on-premises can be integrated with cloud AD also. In case if any organization is thinking like I'd want to configure any kind of a configuration on in the portal, like for example, like you have a Active Directory has been available in on premises. If you want to integrate, or basically the term we are using on in a cloud, it's called synchronization. In case if you want to synchronize with a cloud, is it possible? That may be the one of the question all of us in this batch may be having. Yes, we can able to do that. This basically is done with the help of a concept called AD Connect. We'll be using a term called AD Connect. In case if you want to make a hybrid connectivity, this kind of a connectivity, basically it's knowing as a hybrid model. In case if you want to connect, or in case if you want to integrate your on-premises DC with a cloud, that has been possible. That basically known as hybrid connectivity. How this has been generally done? It's been done with the help of a service called AD Connect. So you have to use a AD Connect server. With the help of a AD Connect server, the existing resource currently it's been available on in the portal can be synchronized into Azure Active Directory here. So the moment when you planning for installation of AD here, we'll go for the synchronization of AD, how Active Directory can be created or how this is can be synchronized here also. So we'll try to understand about this. Now, second one, it's been like, in case if you're doing a AD connect or a hybrid model here, this basically the server which currently available on the DC, that is going to be hosted in the data room or data center itself. But the customer is thinking like, no, uh, I need to I don't want this kind of a model here. I need to move this DC also into the cloud. But I need to ensure that all the DC feature or a security attributes or a security features which has been available on the DC needs to be available in the Azure itself. So that kind of a situation you can able to configure with the help of a Azure VM. So you can able to install a Azure VM on in the cloud portal. You can take a Azure VM on in the cloud portal. On top of that, you can install a OS. On top of that, you can able to install ADDS. This is basically known as Azure ADDS. Your Azure ADDS and Azure Active Directory both are different. It is not the same. Okay. In case if you have a situation like if the customer want to decommission the physical server which has been currently available or it's been hosted on in an on-premises one, if they want to decommission one, then you can able to decommission the server, and then you can able to go for into the cloud solution. That so you may have to use the term called you may have to use the feature of Azure ADDs here. So basically you will be installing a virtual server instead of a physical one. Because in the physical one or in the on-premises one, we were using a physical server that is been replaced with a VM on in a cloud, and on top of that all your features has been replicated, and we are using this one. So in case if you're seeing Azure ADDS or Azure AD, both are different. I have seen like many times people is got confused with the ADDS and confused with the Azure ADL. So both are different here. So what I'm trying to do here is we will be installing a ADDS and a physical server here first. Then we'll see how user account is being used, how the computer is being added. Then we'll be moving on into the Azure AD. So once you will create a couple of a user account here, then we'll go to the Azure AD. Then we'll see how your existing on-premises ADDS can be configured on in the cloud side here. Now availability on a couple of questions I got on the uh, chat option, like how availability is being provided. So all this point we'll be discussing. So we'll be discussing about that topic here, how to do a availability and this in the upcoming session. Answering to Jacob question, generally we are using Jacob instead of a migration in an Active Directory scenario. Either we'll go for AD connect option, that is a hybrid connectivity with the help of AD connect hybrid one, with the help of a password hash synchronization or a pass-through authentication. We will be synchronizing your user account into Azure Active Directory. That may be the one approach. Second one is like we may implement a Azure VM on in a cloud that will be promoting as a domain controller, and will be decommission the old server which is being currently available on the on-premises one. That is a method generally we are using on in a production or a real-time scenario. We'll be discussing that how generally this can be done. Now, any questions before that? Anything related to so far whatever we have discussed? Availability, redundancy, migration, all this point definitely will be covering that. But right now it's been early to comment that, so that may get confused yourself. So we don't want that. Any questions so far? Okay. Now let's go and create a VM here. So I'm just giving a simple scenario here. Yeah, general, I'm trying to explain you practically the difference between ADDS and Azure AD here. RBAC, Haja, I got your question. I'll be discussing that in the RBAC session. I already explained that. So we'll be discussing this topic in a RBAC module here. Okay, we'll be discussing that. I'm moved your question right away into bucket. We'll be discussing that. So right now I'm going to do one thing. Let's create a physical server with a ADDS, and we'll try to see what is the difference on in a cloud side. So let me discuss that. So how this practically this has been configured on in a cloud side here. Now for doing this lab, let's install a VM on in a Microsoft portal here. So I'm just creating. Right now we understood you have a cloud, you have a Azure AD has been by default, it's been available here. Okay, so you have already available here. So let's hold this portion here. So don't worry about this portion. Okay. So right now we are discussing about a on-premises one, how the on-premises want to use on in the same to Azure Active Directory as a DR, or how this can be used. So that is the point we are going to discuss it here. For doing this, what exactly currently we are doing here, it's like we will be installing a server here. Since I don't have a physical server is been available, I'll be using a Azure VM. I'll be using Azure VM. So I'll take a server. I'll install on top of that an operating system. I'll install a domain. For example, like let's make it a apple.com here. Then we are going to create a couple of user account here. Let's create a user account called Robin. Let's create a user account called Sachin. Let's create a user account called Jacob. Okay. Then this user account will try to see whether we are able to use a cloud or a not. That is the point we are going to discuss it here. So let's create a VM here. Let me take you into cloud portal. Give me a second. Let me log into the portal here. Give me a few minutes. Give me a few minutes. My subscription has got some issues here. So let me take my friend ID and just connect it. Just give me a second. Just entering the personal details over. Just give me a second. Let me enter the details here. I hope you can able to see the portal here. Right now you can able to see the portal.azure.com here. So before doing this one, let me clear few resources been already available here. So I don't want you guys to get confused here. So let me start from scratch. Let me delete this few resource already available on the portal here. Let me do some housekeeping activities here. So let's give me a few minutes. Otherwise you may get confused. So give me a minute here. I'm just clearing few resource already available on the portal here. So so right now I'm just clearing this one. Right now, the deletion of a few resource record is in progress here. So we have to wait a minute. No, Masood, we were deleting a resource. That's the reason I just kept in mute because you may be able to see there are few existing resources that are available here. So I don't want anyone to get confused. So we are just clearing few resources here. So that's the reason we were waiting. So early it will take 2 minutes. Has been started here. So I'm just getting a message here from Ariel. Voice is not clear. Ariel, can you confirm now? Or rest of the members also it's been any audio issue? I was not talking actually. It's like I was just waiting for the resource to get clear. Yeah, I was waiting for the resources to clear here. Right now you can able to see there were a few resource was already configured. So I don't want you to yes to get confused. So we were deleting that and all the team was waiting for that. So that's the reason in between I was not talking. Yeah. Yes. Kazi, all this session has been recorded and will be uploading this video also on in the portal and YouTube also. So that can be a reference in case in future if you want to use it this one. So right now there is a resource has been cleared. Let me clear this network watcher service also. Give me a second. Right now the network watcher service on in the portal is existing resources been clearing here. It will take a hardly a minute. So let's wait. So that deletion also it's been on the progress here. So that once this setup has been completed, we'll be moving on into um, creation of a ADDs here. So right now on in the portal, you may be already seen there is a Azure Active Directory has been created here. So right now we are trying to do a comparison between how Azure ADDS has been working and how Azure Active Directory has been working. So we are trying to do a on-premises DC with the Azure Active Directory comparison here. Right now, you may be already seen the moment account is been created, there is a Azure Active Directory component is already is in place here. So if you want to see that, you can go to the search bar and if you can type the command called directory, then you can able to see that. So you can able to see that options here. So let's wait for that. You can able to see that Active Directory here. So we are going to create a right now the resource group has been deleted here. Let me create a VM here. Just going to create a VM. Let me create a symbol VM here. I'm just giving a resource group name is called Cloud Batch. So right now I'm just giving a name called cloud batch here. So let's create a VM here. Cloud batch has been created. Name I'm just giving it's a DZ on-prem DZ. I'm just giving a name called on-prem DZ here. I'm just going to create this service in a East to West data center availability and other mechanism just giving as it is. So availability option generally we are using like in case if the VM has been got some kind of issues, what is the kind of redundancy mechanism we need that generally it's been done with the help of a availability option. Generally we have a availability set or availability zone. These are the few method or a mode we are using here. So TRG admin, I'm just creating a VM here. Let me review and create a VM here. So right now, since I don't have any physical server here for simulating your on-premises DC, so what we have taken is like, we have taken a VM. On top of that, we are going to install a Active Directory components here. Let's wait for that. So the same server is we are going to use it for configuring a hybrid connectivity also. Let's create a virtual machine here. So virtual machine initialization is started, creation or a deployment is been initiated here. Let's wait for that. So right now you can able to see here a VZ is been or a VM is been got created here. So right now you can able to see a VM has been created. So let me go back to the whiteboard here. So what exactly we are done? We have taken two scenario here. You may be able to see here. You already had a Azure Active Directory is in place here. So you have a Azure Active Directory is in network is by default has been created here. So this by default has been created. That's one side. So right now what we are trying to do, we are trying to create a on-prem AD. We are trying to see integrate or synchronize this with your cloud. That is the lab. Right now we are going to discuss it here. For doing this lab or practicing this lab, what exactly we have done? We we are taking a VM right away here. Right now you can able to see. Since I don't have a physical server, I've been taking a help of Azure. On in Azure, I've been created a VM here in the East2S data center. And the East2S data center. Right now, what I have done, I've created an operating system. The operating system I have been selected is Windows Server 2019. What is the next step we are going to do here on this server? I'm going to enable Active Directory service here. I'm going to install an Active Directory service here. So for doing this one, let me communicate or let me connect to the server using a portal. Let's wait. Let me go back to the portal here. Let me connect to the server with the help of a portal here. So right now you can able to see there is a VM has been already in place. You can able to see there's a virtual machine on-prem DC is already live and running here. Let me maximize it here. I got a public IP address also here. So let me connect to this server right away here. So let me connect to this DC here. Let me connect to this portal here. So right now you can able to see. Right now you can able to see I'm just connecting to this portal here. I'm just giving the username and password. I'm just connecting this RDP on in a primary monitor. Just give me a second. Let me get the IP address. Right now you can able to see here. Right now I'm trying to connect to this server through a RDP protocol here. Let me connect it. Right now you can able to see a remote desktop connection has been initiated here. It's been connecting to the server here. So you can able to see the server is been launched. Right now the profile is been loading here. So we may have it to wait few seconds. Let's wait for that. Right now the inventory has been loading on in the portal. So let's wait for that. So let me go to the server manager here for installing a Active Directory. So this may take a few minutes because server manager will load or validate the existing service has been currently it's been configured. So let's wait. So we may have to wait few seconds here because you may be able to see there is some validation action is in progress here on the top. You may be able to see that. So there is some action is going on. So let's wait 1 or 2 minutes. Otherwise, we may get an error saying that validation or inventory validation is in progress here. You might get some message like collecting inventory data. So let's wait for a few minutes for getting this action to complete. Then you will be getting a wizard here. So let's wait for that. Yes, right now this all dashboard, everything has been populated here. So then we have to wait 1 or 2 minutes here. Let me go and install a role here. So I'm just going a role-based installation here. So I'm just selecting a Active Directory service here. So right now you can able to see on your screen Active Directory. There are 5 components you can able to see there. Something like Active Directory services, domain services, federation, or lightweight directory right management. So this change you can able to notice from Windows Server 2000 onwards. What Microsoft is done, they have been again splitted in Active Directory into the 5 components here. Active Directory certificate service is basically responsible for certificate related management or managing that generally is been done with the help of ADCS. Generally, the term we are using it's called ADCS. Active Directory Domain Service, which currently we are going to discuss, that's called ADDS. So this service has been responsible for identity management, especially the user creation, or basically the user management. All it's been coming under a category of ADDS. Now, ADFS is basically using like in case if you want to integrate with another organization, there is some situation like acquisition or this kind of action is been coming. That kind of a situation, we may go for ADFS kind of things. And ADLDS also it's been available. Basically like instance kind of a configuration if you want to do. So like in a kind of a multi-instance mode, if you want to work, you have ADLDS is available. And ADRMS is the service, basically a solution or a documented protection kind of a situation. We may have to go for ADRMS also. Right now, we are going to discuss about identity management solution. So we have to select an option called Active Directory Domain Service here. So let's create that. Add a feature here. Next, create it and install it here. Right now, installation has been started here. Let's wait for the installation to complete here. You can able to see the installation has been progress on in the portal here. Right now the installation is in progress here, so we need to look like some error message we got it here. So look like we got an error message here saying that there is some memory issue we are facing on this server here. So you may be able to see the VM currently it's been holding that has been not sufficient for installing a Active Directory. That's the reason installation is got failed here. So what I'm trying to do here is like, let me shut down the server and let me increase the size. So give me a few minutes because this has been configured with a low memory here. So that is the reason server was not allowing us to install a Active Directory. So this was configured only with a 1 GB RAM. See, so this was not sufficient. So let me shut down the server and do a reconfiguration of my VZ. So reconfiguration of my VM here. Just let me stop this server here. Give me a second. That's the reason the installation is got failed here. So let's wait a minute here. So I'm just stopping the server. Right now this installation is being done. VM stopping has been taking time. Not sure what happened to my VM. Let's wait a minute. It's taking time for deallocating it. So let's wait. better I'll create a new VM. So look like it's taking time. So better let me go and create another server. Because this is taking time. So it's been wasting our time. So let me create another server like a DZ server. Let me configure with a high-end configuration. Instead of 1 GB RAM, let me go for some 16 GB RAM and let me configure, because other one it's been deallocation and stopping has been taking time. So better let me create a new VMware, and that may be the right approach here. Creating a new VM here. Haja, it's been like in a production VM also, in case if you are facing similar kind of issue, we cannot just go and stop the VM as it is, because in a production VM, we would have used a change management concept in ITL. We have to need a configuration code, a change request. With a change request, we may have to go for a reconfiguration one. It's not that just go and click on the portal and do a reconfiguration. That is been not advised on in a production server. So we have to stop and resize the with a change request, because we need a downtime there. Because in a production, especially the Active Directory servers or a production servers, we cannot reconfigure as it is. So we may need a change request is in place. Then only you can able to go for that. So that's an important point. You need to remember that. So yes, so as Mark has been mentioned, that's exactly right. When you've configured any VM or it's in a live condition, you cannot, or you don't have any option to reconfigure in the on fly. There's something like you are driving a car on a driving or in a live condition, you will not be in a position to change the wheel in a way here also. In case if anyone want to do any kind of a reconfiguration, we need to ensure that um, basically with a off condition or in stop condition only, you are allowed to do a reconfiguration. That is the important point you need to remember here. So on in live condition, you cannot do any kind of a modification. That's an important point. Right now, you can able to see on uh, our DC installation has been completed here. Let me connect to that server here. Other server is still so deallocation has been progress. Look like some old issue we are facing with that server. Anyway, leave that one. Let's concentrate on this server now. Let me reconnect to this server here. So let me connect to the server here. Connected to the DZ. Right now, the server is we are trying to connect with the portal. Let's wait for that. Right now, you can able to see. So we got a saying like you have an option like without shutting down. So generally in the GUI mode, if you are doing, basically we do a sizing option. You can able to go for a resizing, but that will take a fraction of second. There will time is not, or we may have to go for a Azure CLI or a PowerShell. So basically there is a command we can able to have it, like for example, like If you are using a PowerShell, you can be able to use this command. This will allow you to resize your same without a downtime in the PowerShell. In case if you have a Azure PowerShell, if you are using, this is the command you can use it. Or if it is a CLI, so this is the command we used to use it. So with the help of these two commands, without a downtime, you can able to use it. But if you're using a portal, fraction of second, there will be a downtime is been available. So if in case you have to, without a downtime, if you want to use it, Power Shell or a CLI method, you may have to use it that. So I pasted the two links or two commands which you can able to use it on in a CLI and a PowerShell. The first set of the command is for PowerShell and second command is for CLI here. Let me configure server here. Let me DC here. Let's wait. Let me install Active Directory domain service here. Now installation is in progress here. Let's wait for that. Installation is in progress here. So right now you can able to see installation has been completed here. Let me close it. And on the top, you may be able to see get a message saying that let's go for the promotion here. So let me promote this server here. Let me promote this server as an Active Directory. So let me click on this server here. Let me configure this as a ADDS server here. I'm just giving a name is called apple.com. I'm just giving a simple name here. Let's promote this server as a domain server here. This is the place, the function level or a DSRM password we are setting. I'm setting a DSRM password. This is basically like in case if you want to restore your server, then you can able to use it here. Next, create a server here. Right now, that's the place where your installation has been completed for, sorry, this is the location where your Active Directory, database, log file, sysfol, all this folder has been creating. I'm just going for a default one here. Let me install the installation here. Install. Right now the installation is being started here, so we might have to go for the installation. Right now the installation of domain controller is in progress. Yeah. So right now the message is getting here. Hey admin, there is a installation has been completed. We have to reboot the server. That is a message we are getting here. Server is got rebooted also. Let's wait. This will take a few minutes more. So let me reconnect it here. So here, let me connect it here. So let me enter the details, everything here. Let's enter the details. It's been initiated a login with a password. So right now you can able to see the group order Z and all options are able to see it here. Right now you can able to see the server is login here. Let's wait. Right now, it's been Active Directory features is actually it's been enforcing on this. You may be able to see like a group policy has been pushing it. So let's wait for that. The initialization is of group policy or updation of a group policy is in a progress state here. So the lab currently so far we are done. We are trying to do a comparison of on-premises Active Directory server and other one is a Active Directory here. So right now you may be seeing like there is a group policy has been configured here. So not group policy, we have a VM has been configured here. That group policy is actually it's been placing on the server here. Right now you can able to see the server has been on-prem server is actually getting installed here. So let's wait. So the Active Directory component is in applying here. We have to wait a minute because on-premises busy for doing this lab. We need an on-premises server also. So let's wait. You can able to see, please wait for the group policy client. So it's hardly take 1 to 2 minutes. So let's wait for that. Right now you can able to see Active Directory server has been installed on a on-premises server here. So let me go back to the whiteboard here. Right now the lab, right now we are doing, it's been a comparison of ADDS and Azure cloud here. So right now you can able to see you already have a Azure AD is already is in place here. It's already available here. In an on-premises one, right now what we have done, we have taken a on operating system. On top of that, we have installed Active Directory service here. So we created a domain also here. So apple.com for all the domain you can able to see it here. So right now, if you go back to this portal here or into or the domain controller, which is in on-premises one, you may be able to see a couple of administrative tools are automatically it's been created here in an on-premises side. I'm not talking about a cloud side. Cloud side, I'll explain you what other tool you can able to use. Right now, I'm discussing about in an on-premises scenario, how your AD is been managed. If you go back to the AD server here, you can able to see a couple of management tool automatically it's been created here. You can able to see if you go to start menu, you can click on the administrative tool. You may be able to see there is a couple of management tools are available here. Something like a Active Directory Administrative Center, or you can able to see Active Directory Domain Center. Active Directory Domain Center is basically for managing a trust, and this one for the child domain creation, etc. And you have a Active Directory site and service, Active Directory users and computer, ADSI, this kind of a tool you can able to see. And in case if you want to manage a group policy, you may be able to see there is a tool called group policy management. Group policy management is the another tool you can able to see. So technically what I'm trying to say here, the moment when you install an Active Directory on an on-premises server, that server is basically known as ADDS, the technical term we are using is called ADDS, that stands for Active Directory Domain Service. Second point we have been learned, the moment when you install here, there is a couple of management tool also automatically it's been created along with that. That basically it's been knowing as a Active Directory users and computer, Active Directory domain and service, group policy management. So this kind of some additional tool also it's automatically it's been created. So with the help of that, you will be able to manage the user account. You will be able to manage the accounts or identity management. For let me take a tool called Active Directory users and computer. You may be able to see there is a new console is been opening automatically. Uh, we have a couple of shortcuts also available. I'm not getting to that. For example, like a DSA.msc, there is one of the tool, one of the shortcut we are using. So right now you can able to see there is a Active Directory users and computer. This is a tool you can able to see. So Active Directory users and computer here you can able to see all your user management. So technically end of this session, you need to understand generally when you're configuring a Active Directory on a on-premises, along with your Active Directory, a couple of administrative tool also will be created automatically. So with the help of this tool, you will be able to manage your Active Directory users and computer, and you can able to do all identity management solution. But but when it is coming on in a Active Directory on in a Azure, I'm talking about in a Azure AD. Now I'm just shifting to management of your Azure Active Directory on in a cloud side. In a cloud side, right now we have learned by default there is a tenant is been created for you. The term we are using is called a tenant. So the tenant is been created automatically. And in case if anyone want to manage a Active Directory on in a Azure side, when it's been like a portal.azure.com, this is the link generally we are using. With the help of that we are managing, so you need to get into Azure Active Directory component, and inside that you may be able to see all the management options are listed. So technically I'm trying to say here, there will not be any additional tool will be created automatically similar like your on premises one. You may be noticed like in a another server, in an on-premises scenario we have a couple of administrative tools are available. With the help of that you are able to configure it here you don't have that option. This basically it's been done with the help of a Azure Active Directory itself. That is important point. Second point is here it's like uh, portal.azure.com is the one tool we are using for managing here. Right now you can able to see here portal.azure.com is the tool you can use it. With the help of that you can use it, or there is one more tool or one more portal also it's been available. Let me paste that. That is basically known as aad.portal.azure.com. You can able to type it like this, aad dot. Let me type it on the in the chat window, aad.portal.azure.com. This is another window, or this is another link you can able to use it. So this basically this will display only Active Directory related components here. For example, like this dashboard or the tool, this will be displaying only Active Directory related components here. aad.portal.azure.com. This is the link you can able to see here. So aad.portalazure.com. This is the one link you can use it. If you're using aad.portal.azure.com, you can able to see all the user account or the group and all the components here, but you'll be able to see only active directory related components here. You won't be seeing anything related to VM. You won't be seeing anything related to the storage account or a database or any other component. For example, like if you go to portal.azure.com, you may be able to see a lot of other services management link or options also we were getting. But when it is coming on in a aad.com, you will be able to manage, or you are going to get, or you are able to view only Active Directory related component. So that is another difference you can able to see. So right now, the management also has been one option you can able to see here. So with the help of that, you can able to manage. So aad.portal.azure.com or a portal.azure.com, these are the two GUI based tool for managing a server. You have an option of a CLI and PowerShell. PowerShell also has been available in case if you're good in the command prompt, you can use that for a managing here. So right now we have learned a couple of points here. Uh, Active Directory on premises, you can able to use it. And when if you have configured a server on an Active Directory, that basically known as a domain, and you may be able to see this kind of a OU based kind of a structure here. Right now you can able to see the moment when you entered here, all this user account, it's been organized in a hierarchical way. After a break, we'll see that how what is the difference about in a hierarchical kind of a structure, how a user account has been added. All these points we'll consider after a 10 minutes break. So we'll take a almost a 2.5 hours now. In a long stretch, you people are attending this session. Let's take a 10 minutes break and come back. Then we'll discuss about this point, about like adding a domain, or we'll be discussing about using the on-premises account here, how this can be integrated here. All these points we'll discuss in the next session. So let's take a break and come back. Let's take a 10 minutes break and come back here. So let me put a clock here. So this will be, so we can able to come back. I hope you can able to see the clock now here. Yes. I hope all are back. Requesting you to confirm through the chat option here. So Hachak, answering to a question, we'll be discussing about AD migration. We'll be discussing about Active Directory management as well. So we are trying to do a combination of both here. So waiting the members to confirm through the chat option. So if you're back, so requesting to confirm through the chat option. Okay. Right now, before a break, we were discussing about how Active Directory has been configured here. So there are 3 points we have learned. In case if you are taking a Microsoft Azure, Azure has been supporting 3 way of implementing Active Directory. The first method is like if you're taking Azure, you have a by default Azure AD is in place. We understood like on-prem is being supported now, and we have seen like Azure ADDS also it's been available. Now let's see how this is can be managed. What are the different options is been available on in a Microsoft portal here. Your sound is kind of an echo. Team, can you just confirm? Because we didn't make any configuration changes here. Is there any echo or is it manageable? Okay, is it manageable or let me reconnect? Give me a second. I'm just reconnecting. Little echo. Let me reconnect. Give me a few minutes here for me. Mic test. Mic test. Is it audible now? Is it better now? Mic test. Okay. Thank you, team. Thank you, team, for confirming. Yeah, thank you. So right now we have learned if you're using a Microsoft Azure, Azure has been supporting on-premises AD and it's supporting Azure ADDS, and you have a Azure Active Directory also has been available. Now let's go back to the Microsoft portal presentation. So far we are discussing about a mode of installation here. Now, when you are going for a Microsoft Azure Active Directory, right now we have learned there are 3 way the Active Directory has been supported here. One, it's been like by default Active Directory has been available there, and that's basically it's knowing as a Azure Active Directory here. In case if you have installed an Active Directory service on in a VM or a physical server, or if it has been hosted on in a Azure VM, that basically is knowing as a Azure Active Directory service, that basically known as ADDS. So your Azure AD and ADDS are totally different. You maybe notice here, like when we are using a authentication mechanism on in a existing method. For example, like daily morning, you are typing a username and password on in a laptop, and we are entering to the system, right? So that time there was some protocol is been using on in a backend that basically known as a Kerberos or a NTLM protocol. The moment when you type a username and password on in your domain kind of a scenario, the protocol we were using is called a Kerberos or a NTLM. But When you're using Azure Active Directory, the moment when you use a portal.azure.com or Microsoft Azure PowerShell or a CLI, or when you're using identity management solution, which has been hosted on in a Azure Active Directory, instead of a Kerberos or a NTLM, we used to use a different protocol, something called a SAML, SAML, or it's been like OpenID or OTH or a WS Federation. So these are the few protocols generally we are using on in a cloud. So with the help of that, you can able to do all kind of a authentication method. Second method, it's been like the kind of a structure we were using on in a existing model. It's basically known as forest or a domain or a organization unit. So there was a term like a forest child domain, or you maybe heard about a FSMO roles, you maybe heard about a group policy. This has been completely removed on in a Azure Active Directory. You will not be able to see any forest or a FSMO role or a domain kind of a structure here. There you'll be using an option of a tenant. So there will not be any option of a group policy kind of a option there. So that's the reason customers are using an option of hybrid model, because there is some situation like if the customer is thinking like, no, I need to use the existing model currently available in your office. For example, like there is a lot of security options are available in the organization. So in case if you want to use such kind of options, we basically available it's been in an existing model on in the customer details. So it's basically like in case if you want to follow any kind of existing security attributes or a model from an existing model, then we may have to go for the um, uh, integration of the on-premises AD with a cloud one here. Now, that's the important point you need to understand. So technically, end of this session, you need to understand uh, Azure ADDS and Azure AD both are different here. We'll try to see how this has been configured, how this is can be uh, connected, or how this can be configured on in a Microsoft side. Now, when you go for a Microsoft Azure Active Directory, right now we understood like by default when the moment when you configured a account, there is an Active Directory has been configured. For example, like if you can able to see here, the moment when you install Active Directory, there is a default directory has been configured here. So by default, your directories can be part of only one subscription at a time. Second thing, it's been like there you can able to see something called a licensing also. So in your on-premises AD, you may be remembering like you were not paying any extra cost for Active Directory. But when it is coming on in a Azure Active Directory, uh, there is a four type of the model or a four type of a license has been coming for Active Directory based on the feature it's been supported. Active Directory has been coming in a four mode. For example, like if you're taking a Microsoft C here, for example, like if you can able to see on in a Microsoft portal here, let me take you into a portal here. We have a account is been configured here. For example, like if I'm clicking on a overview tab here, you may be able to see the license model is been mentioned as a P2 here, right? You may be able to see something called model is been mentioned as a Azure Premium P2 here. So the moment when you create a free account, by default, the license has been configured with something called Azure Active Directory. It's a free one. This is basically like a um, uh, the type of the feature which you want it on in a Microsoft portal, like what are the type of the feature or a support you need from an Active Directory based on this classification is done. For example, like if you're taking a Microsoft Azure Active Directory, these are the four model or there are four editions of Active Directory you can able to see. You have a free account has been available. You have a Office 360 fee has been available. You have a premium one or a premium two. By default, when you configure a free account, this will be giving a free Active Directory. You don't need to pay anything for that. So all these features has been classified based on this model here. Rest or three model, we may have to go for a payment mode, right? You have to go for a pricing has been involved. So basically, if you're taking a Microsoft documentation, you may be able to see this kind of a comparison chart. Basically, like each model or each edition, what are the features is basically supporting. So you can able to see there are different features based on the customer requirement. We may have to go for a P1 or a P2. By default, when you configure free account or a pass voucher, that account may be having a free model has been available. Free model means that you are not going to get a complete features, or you're not going to get a complete structure of your um, Microsoft Active Directory. So it's been completely, it's been managed by the Microsoft portal yet. So you don't have any option for getting advanced features like a conditional access or identity protection or identity governance. This kind of a features is been not available on the additional AD editions. So basically, like, you may have to go for upgrading your account into P1 or a P2. So in case if someone want to get these details, you can go to Microsoft documentation page. Basically, like, this is being giving complete details about the pricing tag, what is the cost is been involved for a P1 or a P2. This complete details you may be able to get it from a Microsoft portal. You can visit to Microsoft portal here. For example, like if you are giving Azure Active Directory, you can just key to pricing tab. You can, you will be able to get it in the Microsoft portal here. From this portal, you can able to see all the licensing details about the pricing one, P1 or a P2, what is the cost is involved, all the details you may be able to get it from the pricing tab from here. You can able to see all these options here, P1 or a P2, what is the cost is involved, is it a per user basis or is it per client. So all these details you may be able to pull it out on the documentation page here. Now, if anyone want to convert your account to P1 or a P2, for example, like you have been created an account and we might have to convert into P1 or a P2, how to do that? Basically, if anyone want to do that, so you need to go to a option called a directory. You have to go to the Active Directory. In the settings tab or in the management tab, you may be able to see there is a resource panel window has been coming on in the middle of the screen. You may be able to see there is an option called licensing tab. You can able to click on the licensing tab. The moment when you click on the licensing tab, you will be getting a couple of additional options here. Basically like a license feature, or there is an option called all products here. You can click on the all the products. The moment when you click on the all the products, you will be getting an option called try or a buy here. So you can able to see an option called a try or a buy options here. So here you can able to go for purchasing a one. So you can able to convert into a Microsoft 365 license, or you can able to convert it as a P1 or a P2. So this license can be able to convert it from the portal here. So in case if anyone is been configured with a free account, you may have to go for a P1 or a P2 from the portal here. So this is the way generally the licensing has been worked. Now, end of this session, you need to understand by default or in a Active Directory scenario, um, editions are for editions are coming. So based on the customer requirements, we may have to go for a P1 or a P2 or a free account or a Microsoft 365 here. That's the important point. You can able to see it here. Now, this is the another option we have been discussed. Like in case if you want to manage any portal or in a Microsoft one, what are the options we are available? Already we understood like the moment when you configure the Active Directory here, by default, your Active Directories option is been available on the portal, like a portal.azure.com can be able to use it on in. So you can able to see like a portal.azure.com, it can be used. It's been like a portal.azure.com can be used. Second one, it's been like aad.portal.azure.com. This will give you a complete dashboard, or it's been like a separate tool only for managing Active Directory. So you can able to use this tool also here. Now, let's do one thing. Let's try to create a user account on both the Active Directory. Let's try to create a user account in a Active Directory on Azure, and let's try to create a user account in a portal also. Then let's try to see what is the difference you are able to see here. Are we able to log into a cloud portal, or is there any kind of a restrictions we have? So for doing this one, let me take you into Azure portal here. Let me connect to the portal here. For creating a user account or in a Azure Active Directory, we are going to use the same tool or a default directory option only. So if anyone want to create a new user account on a Azure Cloud. One option is like you can go to Azure Active Directory. Once you are taken or once you are selected this option, you may be able to see an option called user account. You can able to click this option called user account, and right side you may be able to see there is another window has been coming where you can able to add new user account, or you can able to download existing user account. Currently it's been available on in the Microsoft site, or in case if you want to go for a bulk user account, that option also you can able to see. But in case if you're using an on-premises AD, how this was done, you can go to the Active Directory. In an on-premises scenario, how the user account we have been created, we were using a tool called Active Directory Users and Management. So this was the tool we were using. So there was a dedicated tool or a console was or administrative tool was available. With the help of that, we were using or we were creating a one. Now I'm just holding a on-premises here. Let me create a user account on in a Microsoft portal here. Let me go and create a simple user account here. Let me go and create an option called create a new user account. Now let me create a user account here. You may be able to see I'm getting an option called like create a user account, or I'm getting an unmod option like a invite user account also. So invite user account is basically using like in case if you want to invite an external user, he is not from your tenant. For example, like there is some acquisition happened. So I need to allow some user from another company or organization to access my resource here. That kind of a situation we can go for a invite user account. Possible this point we'll discuss in the later point. Right now, let's go and create a simple user account here. Let me create a user account called Jacob here. I'm just creating a user account called Jacob. By default, I have only one tenant here. So I've been selected that. So I'm just giving his name is going to be Jacob, and first name is been given is been Jacob. So right now you can able to see an option for auto generate password. We can able to give that, or we can able to set some password also here. Let's say I'm just giving a password like a password at the rate 123 as some password I have been configured. So next time, yeah. So Jacob, thank no problem. So right now you can able to see I've been given Jacob is the username I've been taken and given some password here. So next time if Jacob has been trying to log in, he will get a message saying that, hey, good morning, Jacob. This admin has been configured a password. Since you are connecting first time on into the Azure portal, it's mandatory that you need to reset your password. So you'll be getting a message for resetting a password also. So right now I've been collected an option called Jacob here. Let me create a simple user account. Right now you can able to see there is a user account has been created here. Let's wait a second here. So this details will be replicated here. Let's wait a minute. Let's wait a second and refresh here. You may be able to see Jacob detail has been created here. Now, if I'm clicking on the user account called Jacob, you may be able to see this Jacob account has been created in the same tenant. You can able to see Jacob at on.microsoft.com. In this account, this user account has been created here. That's been good. Now, if you go back to the user account here, you may be able to see there is another option and something called a bulk operation also. Bulk operation is basically required like you're part of some team where your boss or a team or you got a request saying that 100 user account for a particular team need to be created. Now individually going and creating a all this information is practically is going to be a hectic job. So that the reason we can able to create in a CSV file. There we can have a CSV file is been available. So with the help of that, you can able to create it. So like with the help of a CSV file, you can able to create it here. So with the help of that, you can able to create an Excel sheet, or you can upload the details on in the portal. So that will allow us for uh, creating a user account in a bulk way. Right now, you may be able to see here, I have a user account, Jacob has been created, and this has been live and it's an active also. Now on in the portal itself, you may be able to see we have a couple of VM has been hosted here. Right now you can able to see here, I have a couple of VM has been available here, something called a on-premises DC. You have a DC server has been available here. And if you go to all resources, you may be able to see there are a lot of other resources also it's been hosted. You may be able to see like a public IP address or a network security group or a disk or a network watch. There are many services are currently it's been hosted here. That's been well and good. Now, what we are trying to do, it's like right now I've been connected with an account Robin here. Now he got a power called a global admin power. So he's got a super admin power here. Now let me try to log in with the Jacob user account here. Let's go and connect to the portal here. Let me, because since Jacob account is been created here, let me log in with his username and password. Let me sign out this. Let me sign out this and log in with the Jacob username. And let's see, am I able to access this portal or is there any option is been available here? So let me go to the Jacob account. Let me click on the user account. You can click on the option called Jacob here. You can able to see Jacob option is been coming here. I'm just copying his username and password here. So right now I'm just taking his details here. Jacob is this is the email ID. Let me go to the portal here. I'm adding his username, Jacob at Microsoft.com. Just entering. I've been provided first password for him. Let me enter the same password. So he's asking like, hey Jacob, good morning. There is a already you have a password is available. We cannot use it again. So you may have to reset your password. I'm just resetted his password now because since he's logging the first time, I may have to reset the password here. Signing. Now, yes, Jacob PowerShell has been supported here. In case if you want to use, you can use a PowerShell also. PowerShell, CLI, Bash, all this model is being supported on in the Microsoft Cloud. Right now we are getting a message here for connecting to the portal. Let me connect it. Let's wait for this one. Right now you may be able to see Mr. Jacob has been able to enter into the portal here. Right now you can able to see maybe later. Right now let me change the startup view. Okay. Right now you can able to see Jacob is being entered. So you can able to see Jacob is been created an account here. Right now if you can click on the system options here. If I'm going inside a VM on in a Microsoft side, you can able to see here. It's basically like you are not able to see any details here. You may be remembering like if I'm logging with a Robin account, you may be able to see a couple of VMs been listed here. See, there is a on-premises DC or a DC server. There is an option you can able to see here. But if I'm trying to connect with a Jacob account, you may be able to see uh, I'm not able to see any resources here, right? Now, if I'm go click on all resources also it's been completely blank here. See, so what is the reason behind that? Can you comment it on in the chat? Why Jacob is been not able to access these resources? Because in the same cloud portal only have been created his account, same tenant only I'm able to create this account. Why Jacob is been able not able to use it? Can you comment it on in the chat? What is the reason behind that? What is your thought? Like why Jacob has been not able to configure it here, or why Jacob has been not able to connect it here, or why Jacob has been not able to see the resources on the portal? Can you post your thought on in the chat? Jacob does not have a permission. Okay, thank you, Lekshan. Let's wait for others' view and opinion also. You can able to see there is a options like so I'm just getting a few messages does not have it. So basically we have created a user account on in Azure, but this user account is been not assigned with a relevant permission. So basically, I'm just reconnecting or reminding a term called authorization, right? So basically, Jacob is been not authorized to access a permission, right? Jacob is been not authorized for accessing a resource here. Technically, How this has been working right now, let me take you into whiteboard here. Right now we have a Azure Active Directory has been available here. Now in Azure Active Directory, we have created a user account called Jacob. Password is given xxx. Now Jacob has been trying to connect portal.azure.com. Now inside the Azure itself, you have a VM public many resources been configured. Right now, if the moment when you Jacob has been entered a username and password, what your system is doing, the system has been the portal.azure.com or your orchestrator API has been connecting to Azure AD and asking like, hey Azure AD, I got a request with the name code as Jacob and password has been XXX. So what your AD will do, AD will refer the user account database and it will validate whether the user is been allowed or not. So he will replay that. But before that, he will check what are the roles the user has been assigned here. That's called RBAC. So if there any additional role or any permission is been created here or has been assigned for him, if yes, that details also has been passed to Mr. Jacob. So all that details will be able to list down in the portal here. Right now, my first question here is like, where is your authentication has been happening? Can you comment it on in the chat? Where this authentication has been happening? This has been happening inside your Azure Active Directory. It's not happening on in a on-premises one. Why this has been not happening on in a on-premises one? Because this user account, because we are trying to connect into a cloud portal. Cloud portal has been working with the help of Azure AD. So all the authentication will happen here. Is that point has been clear? Now let's do one more thing, one more exercise here. Now let me go and create a user account here called Sujit. Let me go and create a user account called Sujit on in a on-premises one. Then let's try to create that user account on Azure AD. Let's see how this can be able to log in, or is there any kind of a error message we are getting here. Let me take into Azure portal here. Let me go back to the portal here. I'm connected to on-premises server here. Let me create a user account called AD Sujit here. Let me create a new user account on in a on-premises one. Sujit. Sujit, I'm just giving name Sujit apple.com. Password is been given has been standard. Some password has been given here. Next, finish. Now we got a user details here. We have created a user account called Sujit here. Let's try to log in with a user account called Sujit here. I'm just connecting to a cloud portal here. Let me sign out here. Instead of Jacob or instead of Robin here, we are getting a message here. Screen is not visible here. Is it for everyone or only for Muhammad? Can everyone just comment or confirm through the chat option? Are you able to see my screen and audio, everything? So Eric and Lee has been confirmed. Thank you. So look like Mohammed, it's been an issue with your teams. So if you can just rejoin, that'll be good. So this may be sometimes the teams may be having this kind of odd issue here. So request you to just reconnect it. Right now you can able to see Sujit account has been created here. I'm just trying to log in with his account, Sujit at apple.com. I just given next. Now I'm just trying to validate this one. Now the system has been came with a message saying that sorry, this user account has been not available here. See, so right now you can able to see there is no account has been available here. What is the reason why we are not able to log in here? Can you help me? What is the reason behind that? Can you comment it on in the chat? Now Sujit has been trying to log in here. Sujit has been sitting here and Sujit has been trying to connect it here with the username and Sujit. Password is 1234. Why is been not able to access? Because the moment the username has been created or the moment the user has been trying to validate, that details has been checking inside your database. Azure AD has been validating this one. So since there is no synchronization happen between your on-premises one to Azure Active Directory, your Azure Active Directory is not having sufficient information about Sujit, or it's been not available on in details about a Sujit account which is being created on a AD Connect here. So there is a concept is been coming called AD Connect. There is a concept is been coming called hybrid connectivity. So end of this session, you need to understand if you created a user account on in an on-premises one, this technically the validation will happen in an on-premises server. If the user account is created in Azure, authentication has been happening on in Azure side. In case if I need to use or if I need to synchronize all this user account from a on-premises to cloud, we have to use a different option, something called AD Connect or a synchronization mechanism. We need to use it here. So with that note, I'm pausing here for the day. So tomorrow we'll start with the AD Connect, different AD Connect or hybrid mechanism. We'll be discussing that. Before that, let me go through the different questions here. What is one questions I can see here saying that what is the minimum time for a synchronization? That's generally a minute to 30 minutes is the normal time generally it will take for a synchronization between a on-premises to Active Directory. So there is a time, I think Jason Lau has been asked that question, how long it will take for appear in Active Directory. So generally it will take a 1 minute to 30 minutes is the normal time you can able to see. Depends upon the size of your identity solutions. Any other questions from anyone? If you're good, can you put a single comment on the chat if it is good? So can you put a single, yes, sessions recording has been available. Yes. So if you're good and able to follow and concept has been clear, can you just put a comment on in the chat? Now, if there is any questions, we can have a discussion and debate as well. All good for me. Okay, great. Thank you. So thank you all for the positive feedback on the chat. So make sure that there's a two action from your side. One is feel like please ensure that you are filling the attendance form because um, all the days you need to attend the session, then only you'll be getting a certificate for that. That's the first thing. Second thing, it's been like please ensure that uh, uh, daily you're attending because this is going to be an important session. So please ensure that yeah. So definitely Jainul. Jainul's Islam like in a very short. I'm just giving a scenario like Jainul has been working for an organization where you have been configured at 10,000 user account. Now, Jainul, I'm just giving a scenario like now your boss is saying like, hey, Jainul Islam, go and create a 10,000 user account on Azure Active Directory. How much time generally it will take? Can you comment it on in the chat? Now your boss is saying like, hey, Jainul, go and create a 10,000 user account or all the permissions or existing currently it's been available on the on-premises needs to be configured here. You may be able to take a days or a time because we need to go and validate everything, or many situations or most of the situation you may be noticed like on premises permission currently it will maybe not supporting Azure Active Directory also. One example I'm taking like a group policy. Group policy is one of the commonly used services in your organization, ensuring that everyone is been using similar kind of options or a portal everything on in a system. Now that feature has been not supported here, but now customer is saying like, I need this feature. So this kind of a situations, what we can do, instead of migrating the user from an on-premises to cloud, you can synchronize the identity management rather than decommissioning the server or rather than recreating a user account in a cloud. With the help of a concept called hybrid connectivity and AD connect, all the user account which is been currently it's been available on a on-premises that can be synchronized. That's basically known as a hybrid connection channel, basically for synchronizing the identity management solution, which has been currently it's been available in on-premises with the Azure Active Directory. I hope it's been clear now. At least you got a top view or at least you got a concept, right? Basically how this has been working, right? Practically, you will take a time for understanding this one. So we may have to wait few hours for understanding this one. In the next lab, once you configure this one, you will get a clear picture about how practically this has been working here. I'm pausing here for a Q&A. So if you have any questions related to Azure Active Directory or anything related to the um, Azure or a cloud, happy to answer it that. Or yeah, if an organization want to use a ADDS or a DC at the same time want to use Azure, what will be the scenario and the requirement? Yes. Hamza, there is a option like if the customer want to use both the time, you can able to use a AD connect. There is no issue. You can use both the Active Directory on in the cloud. There is no issue. Nothing has been preventing you for using that. So that you can able to define in a AD connect one. So we have seen many organization has been using combination of both also. You can use it. That's not an issue. So I go over to you. So on premises.
Thank you.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
how we are discussing that. Yes, sorry, Surya. In between, I got one question. Haj just asked something, so I just sorry for interrupting. Yes, Haja, tomorrow's concept is that so migration, or it's been like basically synchronization of that. So thank you, team, and appreciate your time. And this is a very complex topic, so I just try to make it in start from very scratch. So I hope you are able to follow this one, and we'll be continuing tomorrow morning. And over to you, Surak.
Thank you, Robin, for the session, and thank you all for joining with us. And I hope Robin have already reminded about you the attendance form, and the recording will be shortly available once it's entered in our YouTube channel. And I have provided the link to our YouTube channel as well. I will share the coordinated link that you can go into there and look into the YouTube link, attendance, and every community link will be shared shortly in the chat box. And I hope everyone here who joined us new today will is joined the community and already checking the updates there. Thank you again for being with us today, and I hope to see you in the rest of the 5 days as well. Thank you.